They made an X-Files game. Deserter again, also not mentioned on that. I think the only one they probably would be heard they'd be known for is probably the Overclocked, which is a psychological horror.
Okay.
That was back in 2008, but they're all PC games. They never touch consoles. And apparently it's the best one, going by what I've seen here.
Okay.
Yeah. And they made another one called 15 Days, which is apparently slated. So yeah, bit of a mixed bag, shall we say.
Fair enough.
I don't think they made games since. I think they've disbanded since 2010. THQ Nordic actually took over the publishing rights for their games, so that's why something like this is now on Good Old Games and Steam. So
But it might be an idea if we try to get out of here alive first. What do you say?
Of course. I'm sure we will.
I was just wondering,
Okay,
is like
Melanie,
after this, they're like, "Wow, what a success! Let's
Hello,
keep
Melanie.
going."
How's it going?
Or
Found a
was
few more
it?
chronicles. One
Oh
of them
God,
describes
guys,
all
we've
the
got to go better.
details of
Like,
the
what
heathen
were
practices in this region. The monks
the
kept an
initial
eye on them,
reviews of
because
this?
the
Was this a
heathens were their
popular game?
competition, you
Was
might
this
say.
What were these heathen practices?
what we're
That's
doing
what I
here,
don't
where you
think I ought
played
to
it
tell
just
you.
for the
You
crack of
wouldn't
playing
be
a
too
terrible
pleased.
game?
Oh, right.
here's what's interesting, right?
Thanks for
So
being so
it like
considerate. I
from
think I've
at
heard
the
enough
time,
stories of
it's
cannibalism
on
in the
average
last
about a
few years,
70,
thank
a
you.
7 out of
How are
10.
you getting on?
I need a bit
Um,
more time.
but
The
let's see, it
monastery's
said it
rather
became
large,
it
and it's
became
hard
a
not to get
big
lost.
hit in
Also,
Germany
I keep finding some
by
druid
July,
or other following
and the game
me
was quite
around.
successful. Again,
We don't
German
have
made
much
games,
time,
they
Brent.
don't have
What can I do?
a
I haven't found
massive,
the
shall we
realms of the
say,
crystal
it's not
ball
like
yet,
America, like
let
Britain or
alone a way
Japan when
out
it
of
comes
here.
to like game making. So it was a bit of a feather in their cap, I guess.
Have you found
Internationally
anything about the
slated.
druids in these books?
Nothing we didn't
It's a
already
one
know.
star.
Talks a
I can
lot
see
about the transformation
reviews
of the
from like
four
1 star
elements.
all the way
Mr.
up to
Blake
7,
told you all about
which
that,
is
didn't he?
saying
Yes,
something.
that's right.
Got to hand it
GameSpot
to him.
has it
He'd
as a
done his
4 out
homework
of
all
6,
right. I'd
4.6 out of
found
10.
everything he said about the four elements
Whereas
in the Christian
Metacritic
monks'
has it kind
original
of just
texts.
I
resting
don't see how
underneath
the
the 50
elements are going to
mark.
be of any help to us.
Anything
Which I think
Right.
is fair
useful,
enough.
Brent.
You know,
I just thought I'd mention
um,
it. Do you remember what
so
Blake
yeah,
told
it's
you?
poorly. The
I
reviews
might
say
get it
poorly
sorted out
designed,
if I
ugly,
think
rife with
hard.
bugs, unimaginative settings, and painful dialogue,
Okay, Melanie,
ridiculously
I'll
complex
go on
puzzle
looking.
sequences
Good
to
luck.
achieve even
Yep.
the simplest of tasks.
Yeah.
GameSpot described the characters as rude, um,
Well,
and the
Hallig is a
game
dick.
he
But
is
I
he
don't know.
totally is.
The rest of them are just like they're bad guys for the sake of being bad guys.
Yeah. Okay, and again, I remember I have had this recently. Remember when we played Spuds for the Christmas special, and the game cover said like year is like above and beyond Mist or something along those lines, and we know
Yeah.
that Mist is by far a superior game. This fucking charlatan here, PC Zone's Mark Hill wrote that the title's closest gaming relatives are Broken Sword and the Blade Runner game, but Druids is far superior to both. He summarizes the best serious adventure game in years.
No, I'll be all right.
Now, I don't know if Mark Hill is still working, but go fuck yourself if you are.
Yeah.
You are fundamentally wrong. You should not be a
All
gaming
right, I will.
journalist
Thanks a lot.
ever. Go home. Retire if you are still working. Because holy fuck, you are so wrong about that. It's not even remotely funny.
Yep. That is. Jesus Christ. Okay. Right.
Like, holy Christ, I've never seen someone so wrong in my life. Like,
And we watch
that's-
VAR a lot.
we do. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, we have to put up with Premier League referees. And even them, they're right, they're right, 4 times every game. This guy is wrong his entire life.
Oh snap!
You know? Like, I don't get me wrong, like, I don't hold gaming journalists in any level way of credibility because, okay, granted, it's a subjective medium and all that sort of stuff, but like, you fuckers are paid off so often that like every review you have is probably perjured in some way. That one almost certainly was paid off. Like,
Yeah.
okay, here we go. Time for the Forbidden
Here we
Door.
go. There's no way he wasn't paid off for that, by the way. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it here? More tunnels! Woo! Is this gonna bring us back to the hourglass room?
So these are some catacombs.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, the gasp. Okay, so what's going on here is the room that we need is at the bottom of the tunnel. And we have basically a choice of doors that'll either lead us down, further down, or will be a dead end.
Right.
And absolutely no rhyme or reason to it. It is purely guesswork.
Okay.
All
This
trial and error.
fun guesswork trial and error puzzle. Woo!
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It is just pick the right door or lose.
And how do we like? Was there any context clues to go down?
No, none at all. There's absolutely no indication of what to do here. Like, I am assuming, and again, this is just an assumption, that it has to do with the symbols. That maybe it's a kind of thing where like there's a sequence of some kind. But even when I'm looking at the lines, it's not numeric, and I have to go. I went back on myself there and came out somewhere differently.
This looks like it might prove a little difficult.
And then that dialogue makes you think you've got lost, but actually you're on the right path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like this one just doesn't make any sense at all. You know, like you would think.
Like, can you imagine, like, how if you had like, how long would this take someone who had no way of figuring it out?
Oh, it's complete guesswork. It's complete guesswork. Like you genuinely don't know where you're going at all. Like there's no indication, no clues, no prompts, nothing. You know what I mean? Like and especially considering like you have to go back on yourself 3 times to get to the bottom. Like mathematically, that's just a terrible puzzle because you got so many permutations to go with. So if you're trying every single door, like you'd have to probably do this like 20, 30 times to get it right. And like now, obviously, I got it there first time because I had a walkthrough because I wasn't subjecting us to that for fucking half an hour.
It was worth coming.
You know? Okay, so now we have a puzzle.
I think this is an
Ooh.
hourglass.
Okay.
Puzzle, hourglass, tree.
Young tree.
Oh, it's like speed up.
Yeah,
A
it's
shrub
just a
turning
time
into a
room.
tree.
So that's an indication of
Fully
what
grown
type of
tree.
room lies ahead of us here.
Looks very impressive.
Does it? So now the question is, how do we get into this room?
Oh God, imagine making your way all the way down here. Of course.
You just close the doors.
Close the doors.
Yeah. So I think the whole point of it is that basically this is a room where time is relatively fluid. So
Right.
it's almost like an airlock, or I suppose a proverbial time lock. Once you close the
Right.
doors from that time, you can kind of like have this kind of like, area where the non-linear time kind of kicks in. I think that was the whole point. But again, none of that is explained.
If
See,
you were
there's
to
some-
see my face watching this, like, it is just like,
Stonehenge completely destroyed.
sure.
Confusing.
Okay. Do you know the Chloe meme? Chloe goes
Yes.
to Disneyland. It's that.
Yeah.
It's that.
That one,
That
yeah.
is my face right now.
The crystal ball.
Okay,
I
so let me
found
try
the
and
crystal ball
adequately
Angela
explain
was
this
talking
puzzle
about.
here, right? So again, think of this as a time lock room, right? So time is fluid, non-linear. Crystal ball is basically looking into whatever Sir Stan had to begin with.
It's Stonehenge.
So you'll notice there Stonehenge is as it is in the year 2000. It's broken up and it's not formed properly, basically. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to align the crystal ball to see what's going to happen in a couple of days' time. Essentially, what's going to happen when we are being sacrificed. So in order to do that, we need to see if we can get Stonehenge to form properly. So then we're in the right ballpark, and then kind of like as we're focused in on the exact day that we're going to be executed. Because again, the crystal ball is obviously, as the name implies, it sees into the future. You know.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. So in one of the previous rooms up in the monastery, you had this kind of abacus-looking
Yeah.
room. And basically, the abacus is the calendar. basically.
Yeah.
So wherever those
Well,
dots are,
Bad
is
luck.
where
This apparatus is completely ruined. A relief of a young tree, just like the one outside.
yeah. So someone's broken this calendar here, which is a shame. So
Vandalisms.
yes, but was it intentional? Is the question. Did someone mean to do it? The answer is yes. Of course it did. The bastards. So yeah, so whatever the abacus is in that room is basically telling you the time. However, you'll note there's only like four points on it or something like that. So obviously, so you can see now with the puzzle you have like a young tree and that abacus is broken, whereas this one
Yeah.
is the future tree and it's formed. So that's what the crystal ball is aligned to.
This apparatus looks
And
like it's
so
intact.
once you basically shift the timeline to suit, that's what the crystal ball is going to be looking at.
Right.
So you basically have to kind of like intuitively figure out which line aligns with the calendar, essentially. So there are a couple of clues. For instance, you'll notice there that some of them are basically broken up into different sections. So it's like how do I describe it? It's like day, month, like millennial year, century year, decade year, year, and then AM and PM is essentially and time. So yeah, so it's like so once you work out like, oh, this one's broken up into 12 sections, that must be the months. And then this one's like broken up into much even tinier sections, that has to be like 28 days. That's the actual which day you want and stuff like that.
But
You
what
know.
if it's British summertime?
Ah, well you see that's a factor that they didn't conclude into that puzzle.
God damn
So
it.
yes, but yeah, so that's what you want to do. You want to kind of like match up so Surstan has the crystal ball set to our time, as it were, the year 2000, because that's where Stonehenge is at. It's all broken up. So now what we want to do is we want to set that crystal ball back to basically this current time, but a couple of days later, because we want to see what's actually going to happen with our executions. And once we do that, then we have a reason to escape. But we also want to see where we're going for the execution, because there's an actual ritualistic day they're going to do it on at a certain location. So once we know what's happening and where we're going, we can go there instead and preempt. And there's Maglor just chilling out there in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our current calendar.
Right.
So I did what only every like sensible person would do, and I took a picture of this because
Yes.
fuck that remembering it.
I was actually about to get my phone and take a photo of that myself.
Yeah.
So even though we're watching a previous playthrough.
Yes, instinctively that was going to be the case. Yeah.
Maglor, there you are. Where have you been?
I have been conferring with my brothers. Our situation is delicate. Surstan's preparations seem to be almost complete. What news have you?
So obviously, because this guy is now kind of standing in this room, obviously the plot's
I've been in
advanced.
the room where the crystal ball is hidden. I've found it.
Indeed.
Yes, it's behind the labyrinth, hewn deep into the rock.
Well, what did you see? What does Surstan do there?
I think he uses the crystal ball to look into the future. Or the past.
But obviously, the past one is broken. He's
did you
damaged it
see?
I
deliberately.
saw Stonehenge, but nothing was moving there. I think to use the ball, you'd have to understand the apparatus standing there. The one with the movable beads.
The movable beads. What movable beads? What do they look like?
Like those over there.
Ah, you mean the calendar?
There we go. So now Maglor is going to explain how that works.
That thing's a calendar?
Yes.
Is it set to today's date?
Yes, of course. According to our system. To the day. Exactly.
But the one I found had far more options than this one.
Then I cannot help you. Surstan must have extended our calendar system.
Is there a set time for the ritual to take place?
The ritual must take place on a certain day.
Okay, so here's the kind of breakdown
However,
on
only transferred
everything.
under certain constellations of the moon and the stars.
And when is that?
The constellation under which the ritual must be performed is due in 2 days, at the 6th hour after nightfall. Precisely.
So that's the clue for the other beads in the position
Yeah.
there. Have it 2 days after and 6 hours after nightfall. So we go 6 p.m.
We may be
essentially.
able to prevent it.
we switch to PM and then we go 6 on the beats because it's like a 12-hour it's a 12-hour cycle on that. So that's the clue basically, and
Nope.
basically how the hunters to figure it out from there. So when you're using the crystal ball, you know you get close because you'll see Stonehenge fully formed, and
Right,
then
yeah.
when you have it absolutely dead on, you'll get the right cutscene. So yeah, and thankfully, we don't have to do the labyrinth again. Once you find the
Oh,
crystal ball,
thank God.
automatically go there.
That that genuinely was giving me. I was like, hopefully you've edited this journey down again.
No, thankfully, the game recognizes that you've done the hard bits, so it just skips that
But
bit.
the fact that I'm surprised that that shows you how bad this game is.
Yeah, like Jenny, that I've played Sierra games where you have to do that process over and over again. Like, yeah, and that was not bad game design in a sense. That was just stretching out the gameplay to
Yeah.
get your money. Okay, so now let's try and align this crystal ball. So yeah, so it's up to you then to kind of figure out what because they're not in the exact perfect order, I think. I think there's like
Hmm.
one line extra at the bottom and two at the top. So that's why I think so the second one, if I recall, is the literal AM and PM. Um so and of course the problem as well with the graphics is that you can't with some of the brightly colored like lines you can see where the breaks are, but the darker ones are a little bit harder to spot.
Yes.
So you do have to kind of feel your
Thank
way
God
around it.
you're not colorblind.
Yeah, to be fair, like you'd be in kind of trouble here with this, but yeah, so then you almost have to like kind of judge the beads by eye and make sure you're actually like sliding the right ones. So I think if I'm trying to remember this correctly now, so if you count the breaks on the top one, I think that's the hour. So it should be 12. I think there's two 12s on this chain, and then the second one is AM or PM. I think the third one then is the day, I think. Because I think that has more breaks than all of them. I think that's like there's about 14 breaks in that, I think. And then I think it's the one after that then is the month. And then I think after that then it's year, decade, and year, century, and decade, I think. Or something along those lines.
Right.
Um I remember working out the first time around and I just can't remember what it is now because it's been 3 months.
Yeah,
But
fair.
yeah, it's something along those lines anyway. So then obviously like when you calibrate then to the right time, you just basically skip 2 ahead in the week and then you got your right time then. So yeah, so I think you're 6 up on the first one and 6 p.m. on this like 2 days after the current date. And that should be a puzzle. So we'll see now if it's worked.
Ooh. Oh.
Okay,